Good morning, students. So today also we will see some other basic concept of the thermodynamics. So we will start with the steady flow processes. Steady flow process. The term steady and uniform are used frequently in the engineering, and thus it is important to have a clear understanding of their meanings. The term steady implies no change with time. It implies no change with the time. So a large number of engineering devices operate for long period of time under the same conditions, and they are classified as a steady flow devices. They are classified as steady flow devices. Processes involving such devices can be represented reasonably well by a somewhat idealized process that is called as a steady flow process. It is an idealized process. It can be defined as the process during which the through a control volume fluid flow through a control volume steadily. That is, the fluid properties can change from point to point within the control volume. It can be changed from point to point within the control volume, but at any fixed point they remain constant. At any fixed point they remain the same during the entire process. Therefore, the volume V and the mass m and the total energy E of the control volume remain constant. The control volume remain constant. Here you can see in these two figures, here you can see after 3 this is the time taken at 1 p.m. and this is at 3 p.m. So the mass and volume remains the constant. So that is called as a steady flow process. Steady flow process can be closely approximated by devices that are intended for continuous operations such as turbines, pumps, boilers, condensers and heat exchanger, or power plants or refrigeration systems. Some cyclic devices such as reciprocating engines or compressors do not satisfy any of the conditions stated above, since the flow of at the inlet since the flow at the inlet the flow at the inlet and the flow at the outlet are pulsating and not steady However, the fluid properties vary with time in a periodic manner and the flow through these devices can be still be analyzed as a steady flow process by using a time average values of the properties. This is the steady flow process. Now next excuse me next thing is temperature and the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Although we are familiar with temperature as a measure of hotness or coldness, it is not easy to give an exact definition for it. Based on our physiological sensation, we express the level of temperature qualitatively with words like freezing cold, cold, warm, hot, red hot. However, we cannot assign numerical values to temperature based on our sensations alone. Furthermore, our senses may be misleading. Our senses may be misleading. A metal chair, for example, feels much colder than a wooden one, even when both are at the same temperature. Fortunately, several properties of material change with the temperature in a repeatable and predictable way. And this forms the basic of accurate temperature measurement. The commonly used mercury in a glass thermometer, for example, is based on the explanation of a mercury with temperature. Temperature is also measured by using several other temperature dependent properties. It is common experience that a cup of hot coffee left on a table eventually gets cool off and cold drink eventually warms up. That is when a body is brought when a body is brought into contact with another body that is at a different temperature, heat is transferred from the body at high temperature to the one at lower temperature until until both bodies attain the same temperature. At that point, the heat transfer stops and the two bodies are said to be have reached a thermal equilibrium. At that time, heat transfer stops and the two bodies are said to be reach thermal equilibrium. The equality of temperature is the only requirement of thermal equilibrium. The zeroth law of thermodynamics states that if two bodies are in thermal equilibrium with a third body, they are also in a thermal equilibrium with each other. What it states, the zeroth law of thermodynamics states that if two bodies are in thermal equilibrium with a third body, then then they are also in thermal equilibrium with each other. So that is the an example. Best example is a thermometer. Uh, the basic thing is the example by replacing means. However, it cannot be concluded from the other law of thermodynamics, and it serves as a basic of the validity of temperature measurement. By replacing third body with a thermometer, the zeroth law can be restated as two bodies are in thermal equilibrium if both have same temperature reading even if they are not in contact. This is the zeroth law. We will see the temperature scales. Now all these temperature scales are based on some easily reproducible states such as the freezing or boiling point. Now we will just go through the terminology of the various temperature scales and required for that. First will be the ice point, a mixture of ice. What is ice point? A mixture of ice and water that is in equilibrium with air saturated vapor at 1 atmospheric pressure, that is 0 degree Celsius or 32 degree Fahrenheit. That is called as the ice point. What is the steam point? Steam point is nothing but a mixture of liquid water and water vapor. Water vapor means with no air in equilibrium at 1 atmospheric pressure, that is 100 degree Celsius or 212 degree Fahrenheit. That is called as steam point. What is the Celsius scale? It is SI unit system. The Fahrenheit scale is a English unit system. Thermodynamic temperature scale, a temperature scale that is independent of the properties of any substance, is called as a thermodynamic temperature scale. Kelvin scale, that is the SI, and the Rankine scale is the English unit. A temperature scale nearly identical to the Kelvin scale is the ideal gas temperature scale. The temperature on this scale are measured using a constant volume gas thermometer. Here you can get this relationship between T Kelvin equal to T degree Celsius plus 273.15. T Rankine equal to T degree Fahrenheit plus 459.67. T R equal to 1.8 T Kelvin. T degree Fahrenheit equal to 1.88 T degree Celsius plus 32. The reference temperature in the original Kelvin scale was the ice point, that is 273.15 degree Kelvin, which is the temperature at which the water freezes or ice melts. The reference point was changed to much more precisely reproducible point, the triple point of water, the state at which all three phases of water coexist with equilibrium, which is assigned the value of 273.16 Kelvin. This is the temperature and temperature scales. Now we'll go to the another uh, important term in the thermodynamics, that is the pressure. What is the pressure? Pressure is defined as a normal force exerted by a fluid per unit area. We speak of pressure only when we deal with a gas or a liquid. The counterpart of a pressure in a solid is normal stress. Since pressure is defined as force per unit area, it has the unit of newtons per square meter. Its unit is Newton per square meter, which is called as a Pascal. 1 Pascal equal to 1 Newton per meter square. The pressure unit Pascal is too small for pressure encountered in a practice. Therefore, its multiples, kilopascal, 1 kPa, that is 1 kilopascal equal to 10 raised to 3 Pascal, and megapascal, that is 1 MPa, 1 MPa equal to 10 raised to 6 Pascal, are commonly used. These three other pressure units commonly used in a practice, especially in Europe, are bar, standard atmospheric, and kilogram force per square centimeter. 1 bar, important thing is the 1 bar conversion, that you have to keep in mind. 1 bar equal to 10 raised to 5 Pascal equal to 0.1 megapascal equal to 100 kilopascal. 1 atmospheric pressure equal to 101.325 Pascal equal to 101.325 kilopascal equal to 1.01325 bars. So 1 kgf per centimeter square equal to 0.9679 atmospheric pressure. That you have to keep in mind. Note the pressure units bar, atmospheric, and kgf per centimeter square are almost equivalent to each other. Now we will see the types of the pressure. The actual pressure at a given position. The actual pressure at a given position is called as an absolute pressure. It is called as an absolute pressure, and it is measured relative to the absolute vacuum. Absolute vacuum means what? Absolute zero pressure. Most pressure measuring devices, however, are calibrated to read zero in the atmosphere, and so they indicate difference between the absolute pressure and the local atmospheric pressure. This difference is called as nothing but the gauge pressure. This difference is called as a gauge pressure. P gauge can be positive or negative. It can be positive or negative. But the pressures in the atmospheric pressure are something called as a vacuum pressures. P gauge pressure, P gauge equal to P absolute pressure minus P atmospheric pressure. P vacuum pressure equal to P atmospheric minus P absolute pressure. Like other pressure gauges, the gauge used is to measure the air pressure in an atmospheric tire reads the gauge pressure. Therefore, the common reading of 32 psi indicates a pressure of 32 psi above the atmospheric pressure. At a location where the atmospheric pressure is 14.3 psi, for example, the absolute pressure will be what? Of the tire is 32 plus 14.3 equal to 46.3 psi. So I think this is